Evil is on board. Powerful evil.
We call him Dracula.
The Demeter, on charter from Romania to London. Shipping private crates. Contents unknown. Out at sea, with no land in sight.
This here is Clemens. He's a doctor.
You dress like a learned man.
University of Cambridge. I know my way around the boat.
Our charter has agreed to pay a bonus for timely arrival in London.
Let me show you the ship. This here is Huckleberry. We don't come with like this to give the eels clear.
Demeter's a fine boat, no doubt.
Something ripped apart the animals.
All the livestock?
This looks like a bite.
Search the ship. Everywhere.
Evil is on board. Powerful evil.
In the night, it drinks our blood. He is here. We call him Dracula.
He's coming!
Did you see the size of that bloody thing?
I'm gonna kill the cursed thing.
He is on this ship, which means that we will never leave it.
The devil is real. May God have mercy on us all.
I said, let's go.
Oh! No fucking countdown! God damn it!
Well, you're just gonna have to do what you gotta do today, because that's just like, that's no countdown, because that's good fun.
I'm sorry.
Remember, it's the periodic table of awesome. Live, you fool.
Yes.
Believe.
Believe.
Live.
Anyway, happy Halloween, everyone.
Halloween. I love Halloween. It's my favorite time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. And I'm sorry, I can't see shit without my glasses. So hello.
Why are you
at the
singing
moment-
Christmas carols at Halloween time?
But it's the most wonderful. I'm sorry, it's the most wonderful time of the year. There you go.
Yep. That's all right. Okay. Before we get too far along this, what if we all come as? we have to be able to say this.
Well,
Okay.
I'm a bat. That wasn't obvious.
It is obvious. I said, "Are you Bartok?" And she's like, "Nah."
Are you woman bat, man bat's girlfriend?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, Kirsty Langstrom. She's a doctor as well. Yeah, deep cut. Mhm.
Yeah.
Peter.
I'm a very tired woman who found a cat ear headband in the top of her cupboard.
Meow.
Meow, see here. Amazing.
Dion, who are you? What are you dressed as?
I'm an Eastern Suburbs golf instructor. I explained it like I tried to explain it at work the other day, where I was like, okay, I have this travesty of a mustache, so it can only come as three things, and depends on how old you are. One of them is ages you out. I'm not Magnum PI, and I'm not Ned Flanders. So the only other thing I could be was Ted Lasso. But if I change my jumper to a green one, I can be Ned Flanders. So it's a multi-purpose role.
You could just show up to like multiple parties and nobody would know for sure.
Sure. But I could also quite comfortably just slide onto the side of a sporting pitch on a Saturday morning with a latte in my hand and start cheering on kids playing sport, and everyone would be like, normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blow
Yeah,
the whistle. I could start coaching.
You should. I feel like you should. And I'll come up beside you and just go, whistle.
You could be my Roy
Looking
Kent
like
anytime.
this.
Yeah.
Who do you come as?
I have come as the demon sorcerer from Outworld, from the Nether Realm, from Mortal Kombat. I am also wearing a leather jacket in a really fucking hot room. So I am Quinn-Chi, or as he's sometimes known, Quan-Chi. But let's go with
I was going to say, why is Quinn-Chi shopping at Lowe's for a leather jacket?
Hey! This was Target. Thank you very much. And
Definitely.
I resent the implication that my faux leather is actual
I was going to say genuine pleather.
no, actual leather, just very cheap pig leather.
Yeah.
And I'm also sitting on a leather chair, which means that if I go, I can make all the. Yeah,
we can't hear anything.
Quite frankly, we could be making a very different kind of video today.
Yes. You can put your glasses back on now.
Yeah, because I can't see shit. I don't know who I'm talking to. Either that, or I could be Captain Spaulding from the fucking 10,000 House of 10,000 Corpses or whatever it is. But I'm not now.
You're a very clever-looking wraith creature.
Yeah. Yes. So let me tell you a little bit about the history of Outworld. So Outworld was one of the first invading countries. Anyway. Yes.
Right.
Oh, yes. Adzuki says Shang Tsung. Not quite. Shang Tsung wears the leather jacket. Quan-Chi wears a stupid fucking harness. And I didn't have one of those. Sorry, I can't do it too hot.
Anyway,
also, I was just feel like I didn't want to see you in a harness. Sorry. Yeah, Jill, you're right. Correct.
Tonight. All Hallows. Wait, it's not All Hallows Eve. Was that yesterday?
No, this is All Hallows Eve.
Yes.
Okay. It is our Spook-Cuterie board selection of horror tonight.
Excellent.
It definitely is.
I'm so very.
I have been mainlining horror all month. I have watched so many scary things that I really think that I've done myself a disservice to the genre and made myself immune to anything scary now.
Nothing is scary.
Nothing scares me anymore.
Okay.
I got to tell you, yeah, it's been a horrible month.
Now, Peter, you're a well-known horror connoisseur, a lover of jump scares and all things terrifying. How did this?
Look, a long time ago I was.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of classic horror movies in my time as a teenage film nerd.
Yeah, you couldn't go
horror
past.
movies are a lot of fun to when you're a teenage film nerd who's only kind of access to teaching yourself about films is like the Video Easy on the corner.
That's the only way to learn. The only way.
Well, can I ask a question then? What was your first horror movie that you watched, which was one that you decided I'm going to watch a scary movie?
It was a whole thing as kids when we had sleepovers that you would watch a scary movie. And at probably about 10 years of age, I went to a sleepover where it was my first sleepover with a scary movie. And I believe it was Arachnophobia. Closely followed by one where we watched It at about
the Tim Curry one.
10, 11 years of age. So that was fun. But I had like a real thing, like I'm not going to look scared. Like nobody's going to be able to tell. I'm going to be like the tough one and nobody's going to be able to tell I'm scared. Yeah. So like I had to be able to kind of sit through it. You learn a lot about just filmmaking techniques in general by watching horror films because horror films wear the techniques on their sleeve, right? Like it's deliberate emotional manipulation. It's trying to make you scared. It's a lot of like setup payoff in order to build that fear. So you actually like as a teenage film buff, watching horror films to be like, ooh, a shot of a knife, ooh, something's definitely, ooh, the music is like, making you really on edge at this point. There's going to be a jump scare in 3, 2, 1. There it is. And I started to really piss people off by doing that. So I stopped.
And
Yeah.
Jill,
Like life happened, and I just was basically constantly stuck in fight or flight mode, and it stopped being entertaining to put myself further in fight or flight mode by watching horror movies.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jill, what did you think of it?
I refuse to watch it. I'm sorry. I don't do clowns.
Well, that's
No
right. You have
clown.
coulrophobia, don't you?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I've been terrified by clowns my entire life, so I'm just going to steer clear of that one.
Yeah,
So,
just
so
checking.
was it Alien Clowns from Outer Space? Not your jam?
Nope.
Yeah, right.
I also hate alien films. If they're
Oh
just,
shit!
like, out of context alien films.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Pixels was just horrifying.
Dion, what was your first horror film?
House 2, Ding Dong, You're Dead. Go look it up. Yeah, it's if you go back and look at it now, it's
I know it well.
so totally not terrifying at all. But if you do look it up, it's like, yeah, that was the first one that I watched. If you don't count the fact that I accidentally kind of watched Terminator when I was far too young. So, you know, that was one of those ones like, I don't know why I'm afraid, but I am afraid, but I should like this. It's got robots in it. Oh no, I'm very afraid. But yeah,
it's not even horror, but it's terrifying for children.
It's scary as shit. The concept of a dude who has a metal skeleton inside
and the
who
red
wants to
glowing
kill
eyes
you and will keep coming and you can't kill him. Fucking terror.
It might have actually been House, not House 2. I think it was just the original.
Well, Ding Dong You're Dead's the one with where it's hitting the button. Like
it's definitely like an 80s one. So it must have been House.
Yeah. So my thing with it is that I was actually fucking terrified of pretty much all horror for a really long time. And mostly because of video stores. The covers scared the shit out of me.
They were always terrifying.
They were. Like, I remember Fright Night, the cover to Fright Night, which is like this ethereal kind of scary vampire face in the clouds behind a moon, like in a sort of full moon. That used to scare piss and peanuts out of me. And I'd be like, sorry, that's
scare pissing peanuts out of you. I love it. Sorry, keep going.
Piss and peanuts.
Oh, piss and peanuts.
And so anytime I'd see that, like the clouds at night, I'd be afraid that a face was going to appear in the clouds, and that would just scare the shit out of me. And like, you know, I saw the cover to Extro at one point and went, oh no, that looks way too scary. So I was well into my late teens before I'd really watched any kind of horror. And the first really scary film I actually watched was Aliens. So, I'm not a big horror person at all, but like you, Pete, I appreciate that there's so much technique in them. And now I watch them and I'm watching them as much for the technique as I am for the scare and the visceral thrill.
My way too young watch of a horror film was Critters.
Oh yes.
I was probably 6 or 7, and my parents were watching it, and I just happened to be in the room, and I think they kind of thought, oh, you know, she'll just go to sleep on the couch. She's not going to watch the movie. But I was definitely watching the movie.
Oh
and
no!
I could not walk in front of couches or anything that had a low gap under it for weeks.
Yeah.
It was like unofficial floor is lava at my house because I was terrified of something coming out and grabbing me.
Oh, you would have had a real trouble in the shower if you'd watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
My dad scared me enough with come down here, little girl. Like when we'd go past drains because like he's like, oh, the clown lives in the drain, Jill. And I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna fucking watch this movie.
Jesus, Dad.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've done tonight is a little bit of a spreading table sort of thing that we're putting out. Tasting
yes.
We've all chosen a couple of splashes of bits and pieces to talk about because we've got quite a lot to go through and it's going to take us forever and we're already a quarter of the way through the show. We just going to dive straight into it. So we had on the trailer The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Who saw The Last Voyage of the Demeter?
Wanted to watch it, I didn't get time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like vampire movies?
What was that, Jill?
I was cramming in so many things.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That
you
was
were
one that I
doing doing the hard yards.
Mm.
So the last voyage of the Demeter, or however you want to pronounce it, is directed by Andre Overdahl, who has done a bunch of other reasonable films, but Troll Hunter was one of the ones that he did recently. And yeah, I quite like that. It's a period piece, and it's based on the
It's Bram
chapter.
Stoker's like
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah, so it's based on chapter 7 of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is written in a totally different style. So if you've read the novel, which I hadn't read until I was about 12, so I could read horror, couldn't watch it. Yeah, that it's only about 100 pages, but it's a ship's log. The whole of that chapter is a ship's log of the Demeter traveling from Transylvania, as it was known at the time, to London, and talking about the weird shit that's happening on board the ship. And it's taken a very, very long time, but then they've gone, hey, fuck it, let's actually turn that into a film. And I kind of dug it. Not everybody has. It hasn't been overly well received, but I actually thought it was real stylish. It had, I like period horror. I think like anything that is bright, shiny, modern and stuff like that. And especially if it feels like there's been effort put into the sets and the design and everything, I'm all for it. And this does it well, does it really, really well. And I mean, it, yes, takes some pretty massive liberties, adds a couple of characters here and there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows that Dracula came on a boat across the sea and that no one really survived that journey. So what happened there? You know, fine. We can make stuff up as we go along.
Yeah, just add in a new character who
Sure.
survives. And,
Yep.
you know, then kind of feels like he could very easily continue on to having a sequel. Or, you know, and I was like,
how convenient.
yeah, it feels a little bit like you're trying to do, I don't know, an ongoing series with this character. Who is not in the book at all, but that's fine. It's fine. It's totally, totally normal. It takes some pretty big kind of swings with its design work that I love. So the design of Dracula himself is kind of it's a half and half. So, okay, tell me, what's your favorite kind of vampire? Like, do you have a particular style? Anyone?
I mean, I don't mind a sexy Anne Rice vampire.
Okay, so we got one vote for sexy Anne Rice vampire.
I mean, is there any other vampire than just hot vampire?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yes, yes, there definitely is.
We're ignoring the other ones.
I'm going to
Okay,
vote
Dion?
for sparkly vampire. They're my favorite. They just twinkle in the sun, and I love them.
Right.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I like the ones that actually aren't sexy. That are actually more perverse in that sort of way. Like the ones out of The Strain. That was a very interesting concept. Did you ever watch the TV show The Strain? Which was kind of like it's a gestalt entity full of worms kind of thing, but no one ever has a good time as a vampire. You're never a sexy vampire. You're literally a bottom feeder. You know, we don't have to have those ones.
This one hits it on the one kind of vampire, because I like good sexy vampire. I like good, you know, Anne Rice style vampire, but my particular favorite, I fucking dig a Nosferatu style vampire. Yeah, long fingers and the long teeth and
like Peter.
Yes, exactly. It's Peter from the old world. And have any of you seen Salem's Lot?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so an
Yeah,
old
that kind of
early 80s Stephen King horror. And yeah, glowing eyes, big long pointy teeth, and it's just a little rabbit, but you know, it's fucking terrifying. And so this is what the design is. They've gone for this take on Dracula, and it's animalistic and it's creepy as fuck. And I really liked that.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a good story, well told. You know, it takes a pretty a bit of liberties to expand the story out and add characters, and
Hmm.
you know, one of Dracula's handmaidens, as it were, is in, you know, gets saved, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But it doesn't shy away from some pretty hardcore violence. And has David Dasmalchian in it, who I really enjoy. And yeah, it's just a fucking ripper of a film. And a friend of mine, Stefan Kapicic, who was Colossus in Deadpool,
Oh, yeah.
is in it as well, and he's real good. So I say, if you've got the time and you like that kind of thing, go and check it out. It's fucking cool. Not everybody's taste though, and a lot of people kind of found that it was taking a few too many liberties. So
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I was disappointed I didn't get time to see it, but I'm definitely going to keep it on my list.
it's real good fun.
It's a
Like and it sort of does the dark brooding kind of 18th century vampire thing really well. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good too.
Sorry, have you seen it, Dee?
Yeah, I saw. I put my hand up. I saw.
Oh
the
fuck!
large...
Sorry, I didn't see your hand go up.
No, that's all right.
Otherwise, I would have shut up and let you talk about it for a while.
No, that's okay.
All got our ones to talk
I like
about.
it. You know, vampirism is a broad church. We're willing to accept all kinds. In fact, you know, if you want to discuss it further, can I come in?
Not so much.
Should we go? We can move on from the Demeter. We can go to a different one. Do we want to go see a trailer and talk about someone else's? Who wants to put their hand up? One. Any?
Not me.
Not
I
you.
feel like I've just talked a lot.
Peter, Jill, would any one of you want to pick one draw it out of the hat?
Yeah, you go. You go, Peter.
Jill and I both watched Totally Killer. I watched it because Jill told me to.
All right.
And that's how that happened.
So we should watch the trailer for Totally Killer.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd like to report a crime that hasn't happened yet. Have you seen the movie Back to the Future? Basically, I'm living that movie right now, which is how I know there's gonna be a murder tonight.
Hate time travel movies. They never make any sense.
Happy Halloween. How about we all stay in and hand out Halloween candy?
No, Mom.
You know how hard this time of year is for us. Your friends were murdered 35 years ago. It's not 1987 anymore. Stay safe, honey. I love you. What the fuck? Excuse me, what year is it?
1987.
Oh my God.
I know. The 80s are almost over and I haven't even tried Coke yet. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Mom.
Fuck off and die. Jesus, Mom. Mamacita. Ay. Ay, ay, ay. Mamacita.
Time for my birthday, bitch!
This is a creepy-ass cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere.
What's the big deal?
There's a murderer on the loose, and you drove us into the woods. Oh my God! What? I forgot to bring vodka.
You have 7.5 hours until you're stuck here forever.
I need to stop all this horror before it happens. Do the machines kill us all? No. They more just rip apart the fabric of our society via dance videos on TikTok. They use dance against us?
Come on out. The water's warm.
Just so you know,
I don't do blowjobs. You pee out of that thing.
Just think, maybe if she did do blowjobs, she'd still be alive.
Yeah, let's not make that the lesson. 80s weed sucks. This is just dirt. Look at all these twigs. Yeah, I could give you a gummy this big that has 100 times more weed than this.
Terrifying.
Ooh.
I
Is
like
this
to
a
call
good
it
thing?
the hot tub scream time machine.
I'm down for it
slash
based.
and a little bit time travel.
I think I'm down for it based purely on the fact that it has a death on a waterbed, and you can't get any more 80s than anything happening on a waterbed.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
waterbeds are a bad time. They're a time of the 80s, and they should stay in the 80s.
This film is on Amazon Prime. If anybody wants to go and check it out,
Casper does.
go and watch it. It's such a lot of fun. I recommended this one to Peter because I know she doesn't like super duper scary stuff, and this was just fun with enough of the tropes that Peter really enjoys from like horror film as a genre.
It's and it's a nice blend of genres. I love a bit of genre play. And I like the way it in doing what it did, which a lot of successful parodies do. It played on the tropes at the same time that it was subverting the tropes of slasher films, which was just a lot of fun. Particularly that slasher film one, that you always get where you're like, why is that person being chased doing the most stupid thing? Why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that? Why didn't they call the police? And there's this like fantastic scene where like the person being hunted does fucking everything, like is like super prepared and does everything that you think, she should just, she's really prepared for that moment. And yet, this was a lot of fun. I made my sister watch it, and we kind of got half an hour into it. And she sort of went, it's a time travel movie. Oh, that's good. And I'm like, you didn't think it's actually just going to make you watch a slasher, did you? There was layers here,
Yes.
So the masks that they're wearing, they have a distinct kind of what's his name? Max Headroom vibe. Is there a reason for the masks? I haven't watched this one. I mean,
the reason for a mask in a slasher film is always because you're not supposed to know who the killer is until the end. Like if there was no mask, it wouldn't they just be like, it was him, put him in jail, and then like no movie.
But is there an in logic version, in story version as to why the masks are what they are?
No.
Oh, good.
No explanation.
Not at all.
Apply the same knowledge to all of the films from the horror genre, Quinny, and you're going to end up very disappointed.
Yeah. No, I understood the theory of why we put the mask on the bad guys. But yes.
I think the only thing I found a little bit disappointing about it is that it was time travel to the 80s and not to the 90s. Because like age-wise, Millennial could 100% have a 16-year-old kid, and it would have been fun to have that same kind of Gen Z perspective study that we got of 1987, but of just
it's a strange thing. It's a strange thing. The romanticized idea of the 1980s is just hot right now, and I can see in like another 10 years they're going to be like, "Oh, the 90s was so much better." It's like really not. You're just picking a decade and advancing slowly.
There was Happy Pants. There was Hypercolor. It was not a good decade. Like there were some bad choices made across the board.
No, we hype up the 80s for its spectacular fashion, whether it be poor taste, but also just as a nostalgic thing. But the 90s was truly horrendous for fashion.
Yeah.
Nobody was safe in the 90s.
Looks worth it though. Like I think I'm gonna go check this one out. I haven't seen it, and I would like to.
So it's amusing. It's amusing.
Right.
It's a fun time.
I was going to say that was the question for me. Is it comedy horror or is it horror comedy?
Comedy horror. Yeah,
Okay.
It's definitely foremost a comedy and a time travel comedy with a bit of slasher mixed in.
The slasher element is light.
Yeah,
right.
Fair enough.
It's light. It's less slasher than Scream.
It's
like,
not
it's
terrifying at all.
Right. Are there jump scares? Is there a bit of like?
No, everything's very telegraphed. It's quite supposed to be like on the nose tropey. Like it's spoon feeding everything to you, and that's what's fun about it. It knows what it's doing. It's playing on the genre and the tropes, and it's giving it to us in a different format. I haven't seen a slasher ever do a time travel film before, so
No, time travel slash is different.
What was the one that was the body swap slasher?
Oh yes, the one with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, that was great.
That one was good.
Is it the Parent Trap?
No.
Yeah, it's where it's actual
Lohan
trap
on a
where
murder
they
spree.
freaky. That's the one.
Freaky, yeah.
Freaky,
So it was a
that's
play
right.
on Freaky Friday, but
Yeah.
yeah. No, that one
Yes.
was fun. I like that one too.
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah, very
I
similar
like,
vein. If you have watched Freaky, you'll probably like this.
I like
cool.
a thing that sort of subverts a couple of genres at once. That sounds like a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Sweet.
Yeah.
Dion,
Yes.
what have you chosen?
I've got a couple, but I think I might just talk quickly about No One Will Save You.
Ooh.
How about that one? We'll go to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down for
because
it.
I have not seen this one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, look, this is a harder one to try to, so I might come back a little bit from that one. Yeah, you kind of get the idea from this. No One Will Save You. It was on, it was a Hulu production, but I think you can see it on Disney.
You can see it on Disney Plus here in Australia.
Yeah, you can see it on that. It's a really interesting concept, and I'm glad I went into it kind of blank. And then just to let everyone know, there are only 5 lines of dialogue in the entire film, which is an interesting concept. And all of it is explained kind of in, like, eventually it will all get explained, but it just takes a very big turn from what you expect. And it's like, people are like, oh, well, it's not really that scary. It's not really that horrific. It's like, if I'd seen this as a child or as a teenager, like an early teenager, I would have been pants shittingly terrified. Or what did you say, Quinny? It would have,
Piss and peanuts.
yeah, I would have been piss and peanuts. It would have scared the piss and peanuts out of me.
Yes.
Directed, I think it's Brad Duffield's first film direction, but he's a writer who you might recognize from films like The Babysitter and Love and Monsters, and Underwater.
Oh, right.
Yes. So, but this one is
nice.
this one starts off as a kind of break-in movie and then goes to full-on kind of alien abduction film. But it's done in that.
Jill's face says no.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if it gets down to most of it is that very fucking tense thing of trying to escape one of those aliens from Signs that is just creepy and pervasive everywhere.
Movie.
Well, yes.
Is it great? No, but is it an interesting concept? Yes.
Oh, I would argue with you on that one because I actually think it was pretty fucking in terms of scary shit. I thought it worked.
Yeah. And I mean, it did introduce me to a concept that I never thought I'd see ever. That was terrifying, but as I will call them, the semaphore aliens. Aliens that use their limbs to talk in semaphore, and you're like,
you're just voguing.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's got really good sound design, and it's got really good kind of. I knew that it was getting me at the point where they did that thing where they've been doing not a lot of show, no show will help tell and make it do it, but they just get to one point where I was like, they're going to cut away, and then they don't, and I'm like, you should have cut away because I'm scared now, and I'm looking directly at an alien, and I am not comfortable looking directly at it, and you're not cutting away. Who saw it? Did you see it? You saw it, Quinny?
I saw it. Yeah.
Peter, did you see this one? You love aliens.
I have not, but the way you described it has made me academically interested.
Yeah,
Pete, I think you would get a real kick out of it because it goes to some really, really interesting places at the end as well.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not your regular kind of alien abduction invasion film.
Yeah, yeah. And it does that thing that you were saying about where the character does the smart things, like throughout the whole thing. Like, you know, she's constantly doing the smart things. And when you're yelling at the character, just fucking go.
Yeah.
Get on a bus and go.
And they do.
And they do. And you're like, oh, shit. Okay.
And then there's other reasons, but it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, the achievement of it, I think, was no dialogue. Yeah.
That's what's interested me. I'm now interested to see. I may need to watch this scary movie.
And it tells it does that clever thing that a lot of video games and stuff do of telling a narrative through the things that you see around. So there's a whole kind of, so if your alien invasion is your basic bitch A plot, there is a whole B plot that is told through stuff that you just see in the background, or the way that characters interact, or things that people are writing, and you're building a story out of ancillary information. And I was like, oh, that's a bit fucking clever. I dig that.
It was a bit like
No phones in this movie. Don't look at your phone.
No, you really do
Just
kind of have
one
to.
screen.
Challenge.
Yeah, I know.
It reminded me a bit like of Nope, which is also an alien film, but told in a smart way. This is an alien film, but told in a smart kind of way.
I liked Nope, so I'll give this one a go.
And you know, she's a good old ass kicking independent woman who don't need nobody, but that's actually kind of a problem when you're trying to stop aliens invading, and you do need people.
And the hints in the name.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, good fun. And is it PG? I have a vague feeling that it's actually not M rated.
I wouldn't know.
Because
it's relatively bloodless, so I'd say it could even have made a PG, because as I said, there's no dialogue. It's just film language, and and you know, it's definitely a bit horrific. It's like there's problems if you have problems with certain things. Hey, yeah. Remember, there's a point of a bit where she pulls something out of her throat herself. Yeah, I used to remember, and you're like, oh yeah. But it's just kind of like, yeah. Anyway,
so yeah, it's a PG-13 in America. I'm not sure what it's rating here in Australia, but it is definitely one of those ones that you would watch as at a like a movie night with your friends, and absolutely fucking destroy you for the rest of the night, because you do not want to turn the lights off or anything.
No, and you'd also just be like, you'd be daring each other to like, okay, all you have to do is walk out the back door through the yard to the fence and come back.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, nope.
If you can do that, you're the toughest person.
Nope. Anyway. Next one, what do we want to talk about? Someone else. Who's back?
The Boogeyman, please.
The Boogeyman, please.
Yes. Ooh.
When there are scary things we don't understand, our minds try to fill in the blanks. Sometimes the best thing to do is to face it. So this light is going to be completely solid like it is right now. Then gradually, it's going to start flashing until it's totally dark. So you can see that there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay? See? That's not so scary, is it? Just you, your sister, and me.
You're doing okay. It's not real. It's okay. It's okay. It's all just in your head.
Katie. You believe me, don't you?
There's no such thing as monsters. You need to grow up. I'm serious, Sawyer. I need to be alone.
You're both having these manifestations. What is this supposed to be?
It's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention.
Dad, you have to listen to me.
Okay. I'm listening. Sweetheart, let me handle it.
Nope, no, I'm out.
Nope.
See you later.
No.
No,
So I have
thank you.
to tell you, out of everything I watched this month, this was the scariest one. So, yeah, thank you, Stephen King, for bringing to life the things that definitely terrified me as a child, and that was stuff that lived in the dark that you couldn't see. And yeah, this fucking terrified me. It does that brilliant thing where there's something maybe you just saw out of the corner, but you're not sure, and then you don't want to turn around, but the character's turning around. You're like, don't do it, don't do it.
It's gonna be there, and it's gonna be scary, and it's gonna be bad.
Does it have the good old jump scare of like I'm in the bathroom, I'm opening up the cabinet, and then I shut the door and the mirror reflects something there? You know, the good old one.
There wasn't a lot of that because there was more of looking into dark corners and knowing that this creature was there and you couldn't see it. Yeah. So this boogeyman creature, if anybody has read the short story by Stephen King, is a creature that preys on trauma. So people that have experienced trauma will experience this creature come to feed off of that in their home. The little girl in this movie is little baby Leia from Obi-Wan. You guys didn't recognize her?
No,
because I wasn't watching the trailer. I saw a bit and I'm like, no.
You closed your eyes, She was brilliant. She's a fantastic little actress. But yeah, this movie was properly terrifying and I loved every minute of it. There was some things that pissed me off, and that was the horror tropes of like, if this is a creature that lives in the dark and you know that, why don't you turn on any fucking lights in your house? Like there's a moment where the girls are having a sleepover and the little girl is playing video games in the dark in the living room. I'm like, you have literally been horrified by this creature in the dark and you're sitting in the dark right now. And there were moments where they'd be going around the house. I'm like, turn on a light. There's a wall switch right next to you. Just fucking turn on a light.
But it won't work that way. Because lights cost money and it's a cost of living crisis that we're all experiencing.
The girl's in the kitchen and she opens the fridge to bring light into the room. I'm like, turn on the fucking light. You. What's I gonna show you? Come on. Yeah. When that stuff starts to get very noticeable, it kind of takes you out of it. But the creature design was absolutely horrific. When you actually do finally get to see it in full, it is terrifying.
Was it as good as, and I'll ask this, Jill, because you and I saw Barbarian.
Barbarian.
And like
I'd say it's on level with Barbarian.
Okay,
in terms
cool.
of scariness. Yeah.
Which I didn't think Barbarian was going to be scary. And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, it's kind of just terrifying.
Yeah. So The Boogeyman is also a Hulu one and you can find it on Disney Plus.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will be avoiding that.
Oh, see, I love to scare myself and this one fucking did it. It was the best one I watched. Yeah.
Pete, you're going to be checking her out?
Not this one. No, it feels like it has some of the elements that kind of really traumatized me about it and Candyman when I watched them as a child. That particularly that nobody will believe you element that isolates the main character. I remember this particular image in it because the thing about it is that the kids can see it, but the adults can't. So the people that you rely on in your life to help you and keep you safe can't see the thing that's coming after you. And there's like a scene where like the adult looks over and there's just like a pedal, like going around on a bike. And for the adult, it just looks like it's spinning on its own. But then, for the kid, it's like,
It's a clown or a terrifying thing.
And there was something about that is just, when you're watching it as a kid, extra terrifying, that the people who actually keep you safe would not be able to keep you safe from this thing.
Yeah.
And in the Candyman, it was even more terrifying, because then that main character was like, seriously, this thing is coming to kill me, and everybody was like, nah, you cray. Nobody would help her.
Oh, only the best nightmare fuel.
Just the constant state of no one believing you.
Gaslighting the movie, yes. Thank you, Kanga. Okay, so if I were wanting to scare the shit out of myself, should I go to Barbarian first or Boogeyman?
Oh, no, Barbarian is also equally terrifying. They're different movies. They have different things that are scary, but I rate them same level.
Having not seen the Boogeyman, which I don't think I'm ever going to do, I got to say there was a certain amount of just also body horror, disgusting shit that happened in Barbarian, like 3/4 of the way through, that you're like,
Yeah, I don't like body horror at all.
Well, it's not really body. Yeah, I mean, it's just a disgusting thing that happens, and it makes sense contextually.
I'd say it's body horror.
Well, yeah, okay, fine, yeah.
I like it when Jill texts me body horror warnings for movies that she's watching or that we're going to watch. She's like, warning for Peter, bad body horror in this one. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
That
body
informs my
horror,
decision to watch it.
Excessive gore, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I got your back.
I look at the Boogeyman, and Boogeyman is one of those things that comes out. You can't escape it. It's in the house. It's there. It's kind of around. Whereas in Barbarian, it's just that sense of dread, because, you go into an Airbnb and then you find out there's a basement, and then you go into the basement and there's more basement, and then there's like a creepy room, and then there are just tunnels everywhere, and you end up having to be in the tunnels. It's terrifying.
Different kind of scary.
Casper saying he's never into Hostel or the Saw movies. Did any of you like those? You like the Saw movies, anyone?
Didn't even watch one of them.
Saw movie.
I liked the first one
It's just
because
all
it was
body
a good
horror. So what's
premise.
in it for me?
The twist of the original Saw was actually quite good, and then the rest of it just came an escalation onto how can we make it even weirder. It's like, okay,
yeah. I was watching actually I was reading a good article earlier this week about one of my favorite horrors, and I'm just derailing it very quickly, which is fine. Event Horizon. I see that's one of those ones that is psychological horror, but also haunted house horror, but in space, and I fucking dig that so hard. And they were talking about the fact that unfortunately there will never be a director's cut, because they were forced to kind of get it out the door too fast, and then it was before DVDs were the thing, and so it's like it was 1996 that it was made, so just before DVDs wanted all the special features, so they were just like, yep, here's the film and no special features, and we got rid of all that stuff. So never going to get the deleted scenes, which is a shame, because that movie is fucking terrifying.
I'll never forgive Sam Neill for lulling me into a false sense of security, because it was like, yeah, I like Sam Neill. He was in Jurassic Park. That's great.
Now he's a Cenobite. Okay.
I like science fiction. Oh no.
Oh. Oh yeah. No.
Speaking of other things that are terrible, what's the next one that we're going to do?
Peter, I don't know that we actually got a trailer for the one that you watched, but I actually am fascinated by it.
I mean, look, it's not even current. I think that everyone else was watching things that have just been released, and I was like looking for something to put on while I was sewing, and just like stuck this 2017 one on. But it's called, what's it called? Vivarium? I forget what it's called. That's really bad. And the reason I'd actually seen it in a listicle article about, Halloween musicals to watch. And what caught my eye about it was it's like one of the things that like horror traditionally does really well is when you get like a very, very simple, very like potentially like low budget concept. and yet are able to like make something really, really super compelling and creepy out of it. So like Cube would be an example of that, as like, you know, that kind of like classic, like low budget, like they would have really only needed one set to make that film. And yet it was, you know, at the time I watched it when I was a teenager, like pretty tense. So this the concept here is a couple kind of, you know, ends up trapped alone in this kind of supernatural ticky-tacky houses, you know, like, you know, housing estate, and, you know, forced to care for a creepy child, and creepy children are creepy children. It seemed to me like a, you know, an interesting idea with a small cast, and a really creepy edge to it. It was fine.
Look, a creepy child in a horror movie will always sell me on it. I mean,
the child is quite creepy. Like, it's got a weird adult voice. Yes, it's very like, yeah. So they go, this couple, you know, it's just like house hunting, and they kind of go into this, you know, housing estate to look at one of the houses, and they, you know, when they try to leave, no matter where they drive, they just end up at the same house, and they just get kind of stuck in this supernatural suburbia, and forced to stay there and raise a creepy child.
So like
and I believe it's like a comment on the horrors of suburban
life.
living, and
I was,
you know,
I was about to say, it's just like what happens if you go to a Mervac suburb on a weekend and just get trapped into the constantly never changing hot box that is out there. The
Get up
people
in the morning, go do the thing that you have to do, get down, go back home.
But it doesn't have like a lot of that element. It is kind of more them being like they don't have anything to do really. That's part of the creepy horror element of it. Like, food turns up, the child turns up, and aside from that, there's nothing aside from, you know, at the beginning trying very hard to make their way out of this place and failing. And then it's just, I guess, a study of how the two different characters then individually kind of psychologically devolve in this situation after, you know, hundreds and hundreds of days being stuck in this place. And it was fine. Like, I feel like it could have done a lot more with the thematic material that it kind of picked. But as like a kind of creepy, simple story, it was definitely creepy.
Nice. I looked at the trailer and I thought, oh yeah, that kind of ticks a bunch of creepy kind of boxes for me. And I mean, Jesse Eisenberg, by his nature, is kind of creepy. So
just as general,
just in general, makes the whole thing a little extra creepy. But yeah, looked like it also had a bit of a sense of humor. So I was like, maybe have to give that a bit of a go.
Yeah, so it was like, Vivarium.
If you have an interest in the genre, it would be worth checking out.
You know what it reminded me of? The workplace one where you're a different person at work than you are at home.
Oh yeah, Severance.
Severance, yeah.
Yeah. It's got a little. I mean, Severance is a million times better. Stylistically, it has a little bit of that vibe. I mean, stylistically, it's fun because of the way the, you know, suburban dystopia is kind of designed. But it is, yeah. I feel like the comment it's kind of trying to make on what that kind of suburban life means and does to people doesn't quite land. But as like a short horror story that like has like a definite, you know, story and then a kind of like creepy payoff to the story, it's kind of cool.
Right. And where can we watch it?
Did I put it up on Amazon Prime?
I think it's on Apple at the moment.
Did I put it up on Apple? Might have put it up on Apple.
Yeah. Next one, we've got one or two left. So which one are you doing? Like, come on, folks, talk to me.
Which
you seen the group chat? You're doing it again tonight. No. Please. It's my mom's Remembrance Day. I just want to forget about it.
Who's up?
I'll do it.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
They'll want to stay. Light the candle to open the door. Blow it out to close it. Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
What did the hand feel like?
It felt amazing. I could see and feel everything on the other side. So my mom, she was trying to reach out. I'm here. Still been seeing stuff.
You mean saying stuff?
What if we opened the door but we didn't shut it? Oh my god, they followed us!
I like it.
They're not gonna stop. They're never gonna stop!
Oh yes, there we go. Little bit of talk
Yes.
to me. I saw this one.
Talk to me.
Who
Talk
saw
to
this
me.
one?
This was the only one that I watched this month that I was scared when I turned the lights off. Like
Oh.
Boogeyman, I went to sleep like a baby, but Talk to Me was so violent and horrific that that's the part that was scary. It wasn't the horror elements, it was the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And it's like it's Australian directors, the guys, the Raka Raka, who YouTube people doing their own videos and making up their own horror comedy stuff. And then they've got their hands on making a full movie, which I got to admit felt really honest. Like it's a crazy preset, premise, but the film felt really honest because all of the kids felt honest. Like all of the actors and the reasoning and the things that kids do and teenagers do, it was like, oh, this feels real. So it lent
Cast
itself
were-
to that thing.
Yeah, the cast were very talented. I got to say, doesn't feel like a low budget film or like an indie film at all. It was very well produced. And creepy kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like just
Give
everything
me-
is creepy.
Give me your Hereditaries and your Babadook kids, and
Yeah.
this Vivarium kid sounds like he'd be on the same page.
Yeah. Also, South
Boy,
Austra-
in this,
Yeah.
always just chuck a weird, creepy kid in there, and yeah.
and South Australians, creepy just in general. There's just a vibe that's
Yeah,
going on
true.
in South Australia. It's just
Serial
creeps.
killer capital of the world. They
Yeah.
know what's up.
Yeah. they do it better than anyone. I reckon we should, we've done like the big Marvel crossover where all of the Marvel heroes. I want to see every creepy kid from every movie go head to head in like a battle royale of creepy
Oh
kids.
my god, yeah.
That'd be awesome. Like Mithrigan versus the kid from The Ring.
Oh,
actually
yeah,
saw-
the Ju-on kid.
Yeah.
I saw some comedy duo doing a basically like hot or not based on horror people, and one of them was like, like is Chucky hot or not, and like basically just talking about. But they had Megan in there and a whole bunch, and Darth Maul hot.
The Midwich Cuckoos, yes, not hot. Children of the Corn, not hot. Kind of hayseed kids. Mithrigan versus Chucky. Fuck yeah, I'd be in for that.
Megan, hot. Bride of Chucky, hot.
All of them hot.
But yeah, Talk to Me was
Yeah.
really solid.
Yeah, it's a
So
solid. It's a solid
when we
thing.
talk about like the violence, is that like really sort of shocking kind of violence, or
Yes,
right?
100%. So yeah, fair warning. It comes on quite suddenly. No real lead up to it, and it's very graphic and very shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then doesn't
Okay.
kind of take its foot off your neck throughout the whole thing as it sort of progresses through. And it's a lot of creeping dread shit too, because the whole thing is dealing with the afterlife and possession and ghosts and stuff. And what happens if you stop?
Yeah.
You start, like, if you don't stop seeing ghosts. But like, it's kind of that thing. It's like, I see dead people. It's like, yeah, but that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I
people who see-
kind of got a feeling from the trailer that it was a little flatliners. Is that where I'm going with it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Ah, okay,
kind of,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've gone somewhere, you've seen something, and then you brought it back with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a bunch of kids playing with shit they don't know, don't understand, and stuff goes wrong.
It's a metaphor for drug taking and risky behavior.
Or D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, except when you're not like at home alone in your bedroom rolling dice by yourself.
Well, I don't know. I do that every Sunday.
Yeah, but by yourself, like you're not interacting with anyone. You just,
Okay, fine. I'm on the internet doing it.
patting your dice and going, the clicky clacks.
Yeah, well, hey, have you been watching me at home?
Just gonna say straight out there for Pete, hard no for Pete.
Hard no for Pete.
I mean, I know
Noted, thank you.
Yeah. All I'm just gonna say, hard no, Pete. You don't want this in your life. Like,
No, don't do it.
great execution. Good to know that it's out there. A well done Australian production. But yeah, you don't want to see this. Yeah.
Or maybe you could watch it and I'll tell you when to close your eyes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think I'm more likely to watch the Boogeyman than this.
Well,
okay, which is scarier?
Oh, Jill's the only one who can
They're
make that
scary in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Boogeyman is scary because it preys on that instinct that you have of like not being able to see things and stuff that's not there and that kind of stuff. And
Right.
then Talk to Me is like extremely viscerally violent, and that's scary.
Right.
I prefer the first kind of scary to the second kind. So.
All right. The extra visceral violence is a big
Well, at least with Boogeyman, you can rationalize it in your real life and say this doesn't exist. But Talk to
I
Me
really
was
did
way too realistic.
I did desensitize myself to a lot of those kind of filmmaking techniques. So I am able to kind of separate myself a little bit if I want to not be as scared and switch on my academic brain for that kind of thing. But depictions of, I don't know, bad violence, I'm just kind of like, nah, don't want it. Nah.
Don't need it. Speaking of bad violence, we've only got one trailer left before we wrap up. Should we go? It's what's your choice, Quinny?
Yeah, look, let's do it. I have some strong opinions about this. It opened this weekend and made squillions of dollars. Okay. Here we have only one of the 5 nights at Freddies.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
Give me your hand.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Them. In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddies top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronics.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Pappy! Tell me how to stop them.
It's too late.
Pappy, go!
Where to? Why do I always get the weirdos?
Yep, we're back, and that's right. It's a whole bunch more creepy children. Like a whole film filled with creepy children. Yes, we are talking about the brand new Five Nights at Freddy's that came out in cinemas ever so briefly, and is now on Hulu, I think, in America. No, Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah, went direct to streaming on in the States. But also has had a massive opening weekend, like crazy huge. So
sounds like a good thing. Five Nights at Freddy's. It's based on a computer game. It's written by Stephen King. It's directed by Martin Scorsese. Like, why are you talking about Five Nights at Freddy?
It's got such a pedigree.
Yeah. So directed by Emma Tammy, who I've never heard of. It's nice to see a woman directing a horror like this, but I have to tell you, and I'm going to say this straight out of the gates, the single scariest thing about Five Nights at Freddy's is seeing Matthew Lillard look like the 50-something-year-old man that he actually is.
Oh, no.
Oh, my fucking God. You were asking who that person was in the trailer?
I think
that
I reckon
is Matthew fucking Lillard.
That's Shaggy?
That is very Shaggy.
Oh.
People are allowed to age.
People are allowed to age, but it just did me an absolute mischief because I looked at him and went, oh, no. If Shaggy's old, what does that make me? Yoink, Scoob!
Look, just Peter and Jill, just because there's pictures of you in an attic somewhere, slowly getting older while you retain your gorgeousness, you know.
Meanwhile,
allow the rest of us to age undignified.
Yes, with grey beards and grey hair and stuff. So it's interesting looking at the chat. There's a lot of people who are very excited for this Five Nights at Freddy's film. Now, okay, how many of you are aware of the game or have played the game?
I'm aware.
Yeah, you have.
I didn't play the game.
I haven't played it, but
I'm aware of the game, but I have not played the game.
Okay. No, I've never played the game either. I decided after having watched this film, I thought, you know what, I should probably, have a look at the game and see how it's played and what it feels like and everything. Let me fucking tell you, the game is infinitely scarier than this film. Like, by quite a long margin.
Yeah, like I knew the game was horrifying. Yeah.
So Tari's asking what's the Nick Cage one. It's called Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, and it was really good. It was stupid and great.
I now want to go and watch Willy's Wonderland, which is not a phrase I was expecting to say tonight. Because I'm sorry to anyone that loved it, but I thought Five Nights at Freddy's was a piece of shit. I was radically disappointed by how unscary and oddly unfun it is.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's this sort of really plodding, sort of creative sort of story. It's, and if you know the story at all of the thing, it's basically a guy becomes a security guard at a kid-themed pizza place where the animatronic characters there come to life and try to hear you. Try to hurt you, kill you, whatever.
Yeah.
And there are multiple different animatronics, and they've got sort of vaguely different personalities and stuff. And there's
like an evil Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Evil Chuck E. Cheese. And those things, those animatronics have been possessed by the spirits of children who were killed by a bad guy. So this adds in a secondary plot about the guy who is doing the work, trying to work out what happened to his brother who was abducted when they were kids. But he does that through sleeping. So he's trying to do lucid dreaming.
Oh, okay.
And so you've kind of got this weird thing of trying to, you're trying to go to sleep, and therefore so that you can find this B plot that you don't give a shit about. Meanwhile, the monsters are shown way too much. So one of the things that works really well about the game is that you're looking at video cameras around the Freddy Fazbear's, and as you cut between the cameras, the things move, and it's like Blink, from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And so these things get closer, and they've got big scary eyes, and you're in this little room, and you've got limited power, and you can close the doors only for a little while because the doors take power, and you've got to survive till 6 a.m. and all these things. All of that is kind of there, but somewhere in the middle of the fucking movie, there's a sequence where they start building, like the sister, creepy kid, comes to Freddy Fazbear's, and they start building a pillow fort with the big animatronic creatures, and they lose any and all sense of intimidation or scariness or horror, and the film just turns into a slog. It is so boring.
Oh dear, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well,
I was really kind of keen for this to be like a good, fun, jump scary thing with lots of big, scary monsters. And the monsters in this one are even built by Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
So yeah,
just terrible.
Well, I feel sorry that we did this one at the end then.
Yeah,
it's like, this is a bit of a letdown.
I'm
That's all
sorry.
right. I can bring it back up. I will tell you about the other stuff I've watched because I'd like to give some honorable mentions.
Oh yeah.
Please do. Please
Okay.
do.
Yeah,
Because
Five
I
Nights at
cannot
Freddy.
recommend it, and now I want to go and watch fucking Willy's Wonderland just to wash the taste out of my mouth.
Give it a big swing and a miss on the 5 Nights at Freddy's. Don't waste 5 nights or 5 minutes on this one. There you go. There's your
You know what?
tagline.
If you're really, really keen, download it or watch it on TV. There'll be a video version available, in high def right now. Yeah, give that a go. I wouldn't
well,
bother in the cinema.
I'll give you another couple of duds.
Well,
Knock at the Cabin, that came out last month before.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The latest M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Hey.
Stinker.
Oh.
Not as fun as Old. If you're going to watch one of his recent movies, watch Old because it's so fucking stupid that it's hilarious. Another stinker, Pet Sematary Bloodlines.
Oh, really?
That one has just come out. It's not terrible. It's a good movie, but the jump scares are just that bloody semi-trailer that keeps blasting through the town, and it does it 3 times in this movie. And it's not, yeah, and it's not scary. I'm sorry. But otherwise, decent movie. Haunted Mansion, the latest iteration on Disney.
So not the Muppet
not
one.
the Muppets one, and not the Eddie Murphy one. This one has Rosario Dawson and Owen Wilson, and it's quite charming. It's much more like The Ride. So if you actually want to watch a Haunted Mansion movie that is like The Ride, you'll get a kick out of this one. It was quite fun, and it had a good underlying plot.
What did you think of the old Haunted Mansion, the one that was it the Eddie Murphy one from?
Never watched it, but that was more of a comedy.
Gotcha. Right. So this is aiming for that fun, spooky kind of.
Yeah, more fun, spooky. Goosebumps, the latest TV series, not the movies, but the TV series. This one is more aimed towards late teens, and it's going for a more gritty Goosebumps rather than a fun Goosebumps, unlike the Jack Black films.
Interesting.
Quite
not what I was expecting.
And it's all kind of sequential storytelling across the episodes, where we're focusing on one group of teenagers that all go to the same school, and they're all coming across these haunted objects that are from the books. So you guys will recognize it. And they're building up to Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy. So I can't wait for that.
Right. So, and that's coming out weekly or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty good so far.
There's a lot more horror on Disney Plus than I was ever expecting.
They have a whole tab on Disney Plus at the moment with their horror selection. So go and check it out.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
Another one, Scream 6. Not bad.
Oh, really? Because I'd heard terrible things about it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a Scream movie, but it was a Scream movie. Like you know what you're gonna get, and it gave it to me. And yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm like, that. Yep, it's a slasher. There's people out there murdering again. It's absolutely ridiculous and stupid, but I loved it. And Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Not scary, but loved it. If you are an Edgar Allan Poe fanatic, you will love this show because it takes the Fall of the House of Usher short story by Edgar Allan Poe and it puts in every other thing from his poems and short stories into it as well. So
so we've got a little Telltale Heart and a little bit of
everything in this.
Is there a raven?
There is, yes. The raven motif is all throughout. The patriarch of the family's granddaughter is named Lenore.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of references to all the different Poe poems and short stories, all based around the Fall of the House of Usher short story. And yeah, it was a decent watch. And it's from the people that did Haunting of Bly Manor and Haunting a Hill House. So yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, amazing.
Nice.
Cool.
Very cool. Pete, have you watched anything else scary?
Nah.
The news.
Not
Yeah.
recently, yes.
It's true.
I've
The
been
news.
aware of the world.
That's utterly pants shitting terrifying. Piss and peanuts all over the place.
Fuck you and your piss and peanuts.
And Dion, any other scaries from you, TV or otherwise?
Just a creeping sense of dread that pervades every waking moment these days. But you know, what's new on that?
Yes. I will say I have also recently checked out. It's sort of not a horror, but it's definitely got some thrillery kind of vibes. A miniseries called Bodies, which is on Netflix, which is a dead body shows up in the Whitechapel area of London, and a police detective finds the body and starts trying to find out who killed them in 4 different time periods. So one happens in the 1800s, one happens in the 1941, in the middle of the Blitz, one happens in 2023, and the other one happens in 2050.
But it's all the same body, right?
It's the exact same body in every time period.
Oh, that sounds really good.
It's very interesting, and it's got a real good hook. It's a lot about bigotry of different kinds. So each time period they're exploring a different kind of marginalized people, but at the same time doing something different, and they all tie together. It's really, really worth a look. And I haven't finished it yet, but I think it's totally worth checking out.
Cool.
Nice.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for everyone in the chat for joining us for our little bit of Spook-Cuterie on this Halloween. I hope
Casper asked the question of our favorite horror movies of all time. Jill, you've said Dark Water.
Yes, the Japanese movie Dark Water. Definitely my favorite.
Favorite horror movie.
I can't say that's something I've actually put any thought into. I might have to get back to you on that.
One that sort of stuck with me because I really liked its filmmaking was The Descent. Which is just a good. There's one from the old sort of time. The claustrophobic horror then matched. It was like, oh no, this is going to be one of those ones where people get trapped and it'll be terrible. Then it turns into a horror movie, and you're like, shit. But that was kind of good of its time. I think it's dated a little bit now, but it worked quite well, especially with that good old night vision on the camcorder.
Ugh, terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my favorite horror. Honestly, I would say the one that probably stuck with me the longest, and there's elements of it that still are burned into my brain as something that is really terrifying, is Event Horizon. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
There's a sequence in that it's awesome. There's a sequence in that where they go into a black hole, and in the middle of the black hole, they go through hell, and they show a tiny sequence of what hell is, and they shot heaps of footage for it, but they were told not too much, like pare it back. And so there are bits in there that are only like 2 or 3 frames, but that was more than enough to just put ideas into my head forever. And that idea was the thing that got me. So for me, it's all about good ideas horror, and that's one of the best ones. Right. Amazing.
Well, cool. Quick, we better get out there and start distributing candy.
Oh, I want candy.
Yeah. That's how it works, now that it's like all too late. But next time we see you, it's a whole new month.
It is. And we've got lots of things to talk about that we will be discussing as to what's coming out. There's a bunch of stuff happening.
The Marvels is out soon?
Yep.
And then the Hunger Games prequel?
Yeah, the Godzilla TV show, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
Sure. And then I don't know what else is really on at the moment.
The one that I think we're all really excited about, Faraway Downs.
Oh, fuck. No, something that nobody asked for. We'll have our
to anyone that doesn't know what Faraway Downs is, it's the 6 hours or it's the TV
Oh
series
no,
version.
Australia! Oh,
Exactly. You know, those bits of the movie Australia that were really boring on a sheep station? Yeah, well, imagine that cut together in a TV series.
yeah.
I don't
Well, at least
understand.
Baz
Baz-
gets to kill the characters at the end like he wanted to.
Good.
I just don't understand why you've got Australia that has all of those beautiful scenes and scenery and the ability to have actual places that exist, and then all of that stuff in Australia was just
Green
fucking
screen.
CGI bullshit.
Yep.
Like, how about
Because Baz.
how about just a bit of location work?
Nah.
Just a bit of investment into locations, scouting.
That's not how Baz works.
No.
No.
Sure. Who knows?
Because we can.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your input. I realize there's some movies I'm going to go and see, and a lot of movies I'm not going to go and see because I don't need that in my life. And you have one. When are we going to do a show that is just feel good, nice movies that make everyone happy?
Christmas.
That?
Hey, Christmas.
No, what was that, Peter?
I said we can do that. I love
yeah.
feel good, nice movies that make you happy.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
We need to find them. I haven't seen them in a while.
But
Does
remember,
anyone know of any?
November is Movember, so that's right. In November, we're just doing movies about mustaches. Yes, that's why I've got this soup strainer on my face. The scariest thing I wake up to every day. Go into the bathroom and look in the mirror. I'm like, oh God.
Told you not to remove your chin hair and keep your lip hair, but you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway. I did it for the comedy.
I believe you did it all for the nookie.
Oh no. This is anti-nookie. All right.
Anti-nookie.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you
Yes,
later.
thank you, everyone. Have a lovely spooky night. I hope that everybody has a great time. We'll go on Raid Hex. Apparently, they are currently raiding the mines of Moria.
Oh, good. Good old Moria on a Halloween. Hopefully they don't wake a Balrog, and that's the extent of my Lord of the Rings knowledge. Bye.
Thank you and good night.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. The powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have 'em teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guy. Martial arts from iron fist and wall. I'll dap her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out adventures assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're out of cheeky now. Date Emma Frost and have her read my mind. Or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and then we catch a symphony. It'll just be her and me. Call Bucky Barnes and arm wrestle for hours. There's NMA and bring her lots of flowers. Oh, trendy bars would be a guy's night out. We'd make that wolf pack now. I'd run with Flash and do a marathon. Vacation to